What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and you're here with another edition of One-on-One with a Supervillain. That's me. For those who don't know what this is the tier for those on my $25 and up at my Patreon in the Supervillain Squad. And you could say it's a meet and greet, but it's completely different than that. There's nobody else doing this with their patrons, giving a chance to have them just talk to us. They support us, so let them just inundate us with questions, comments, just have a conversation. But also, when you do a meet and greet, think about this. You pay X amount of money. You wait in the line, potentially to get an autograph and take hopefully a picture, and that's it. You don't have any real interaction with them. So we talk for about an hour, whatever they want to talk about. And this week, I'm enjoying this one because we had a good conversation last time, and I'm glad to be talking to him again. Mr. Jim Payne, what's happening, brother?
Good, doing good. How you doing, Jay?
I'm good. I'm good. This is the fourth thing I've recorded today.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a very, very busy day.
Well, they're good days. It's better than, especially with COVID. The days that I have things to do are much better than the days that I don't, it seems.
You know what? I actually have no problem with today being a busy day because otherwise I'd have been bored out of my damn mind. Yeah, so I'm cool with a busy day if it keeps me, if it keeps me active and keeps my mind going.
Yeah, and the other thing with the $25, you're the only person I get to talk nerd stuff with right now. So you're filling my fix.
Hey man, listen, we all need to be able to talk, and we all need to have something to take our mind off of everything else that's going on with all the madness and craziness. Because let's just be real, if we're inundated with shit consistently, and so to be able to have our nerd fix, especially when it ain't that much nerd stuff out, that's the thing, man.
And everything socially too that's going on, and
let me tell you. So my birthday's coming up on the 25th, and I was one of those people at the beginning of May was like, please God, don't let this mess up my birthday. Please God, don't let this mess up my birthday. And now knowing that I'm going home to Chicago again for a week for my birthday, just so I can have something to do.
Yeah. That's everything's getting messed up. Graduation, sports. No one's having this is the no fun year.
Oh man, this is the worst year ever. But it's I mean, you see how people are making it happen though, like making dumb stuff happen, because if we could just do this simple thing, just put this on, this would change like I've bought so many different types of masks now, which I realized that might be an issue. Like I have 12 to 15 different masks in my house, but they're all different types.
Mask are the new accessory. You got your bling,
new accessory. Yeah, they're literally the new accessory. Like it's either, I'm like, all right, so I got my hat, I got my baseball caps to match what I'm gonna wear. Now I need to know what mask I'm gonna wear with it. It's gonna blend everything.
I'm more the generic medical mask, but I wish I would see more people out wearing them. I do live in the country, so we aren't being hit as hard here, but people still, I go to get gas or the grocery store. It's like, is it really that much of an inconvenience?
People just want to make something to argue about.
Yeah, you've said it. They turned something that should not be political into a political issue.
It's the weirdest thing, in the only country on the planet that's done it. Yeah. It's so wild.
Yeah, and it's just been nuts, because I told you before, we left. My birthday's March 14th. March 15th was the day they shut us down at work and said, just go home, work from home from now on. And now we're going to work the rest of 2020 from home.
Wow.
But, I work for Penn State University in IT, and now they don't have football, fall sports. They don't have, but they're still going to try to getting the kids back on campus work, which I don't really understand, because we actually were successful in the spring getting everything going and getting them to classes, but they all lost, if they were graduating last year, they lost out on graduation ceremonies. They're like, it's hitting everybody. But this is what we have to do. It's not going to calm down until we take it seriously.
Which doesn't seem to, it doesn't seem to be the thing, because I was talking to one of my friends. We were talking about, like, the problem is when you put numbers in front of people, they look at it and don't think it's a big deal, because in theory, when you hear that the United States has 370 million people, and then you hear 1 million are affected, right? But then you hear maybe some 100,000 die. So they're looking at the way that number decreases, and it's like, oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get what you're saying by the number wise, but still, that shouldn't even be a thing.
Well, and then people are stretching the number. I know you and Winston have talked about her, but Candace Owens had a thing where she was claiming only 400th of the population got it, or it had killed 400th of the population, 99.96. Well, that only works if you divide the number of deaths by the entire population, not the number of people that got it.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, being a math person, always just drives me nuts when I know someone's twisting numbers to make what they want to say seem right.
Oh, that's terrible, dude.
It's horrible that someone would do something like that. Because I do know people that have a friend of mine online lost his mother.
Jesus.
It's real. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a game. It's not a fake. That was the thing too. I think that's been really upsetting me about it. Because, like, when we said, like I said, this is the only country that made it political. But then people literally had the nerve to say it's all a hoax to try to get one person out of office. You're telling me the entire world, is in on this one thing. Just the world.
Yeah, it's great. Well, he's lied so much about everything. This is just his playbook. Lie about it and don't take any responsibility.
None at all.
So, it's one of my crazy thoughts was, well, maybe people will lay off Christopher Columbus now, because in 2020 we can't handle infectious diseases. How would Christopher Columbus known he was going to affect people, give them deadly disease back then?
How would he have known?
Yeah, I mean, how would they have even done anything about it? Once they showed up and said hi, it was
it was already too late.
Yeah.
And this makes you it literally it's frustrating, because the solution is so simple.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. If the solution wasn't so simple, the frustration wouldn't be so high.
Yeah, and that it's dragging on. We could have been, look at Italy everybody was going to be dead in Italy, and they got through. They shut down. They did what they had to, and they came back. Other countries that got hit really hard there at the beginning, they shut down. They did what they had to, and they're back. New Zealand, which might as well be its own planet, they just
Okay, there it goes. Let me open this door so I can get this signal to come through better. Jesus.
Okay.
Because I was like, wow. Okay. There we go. Yeah, you said about Italy?
Well, Italy, they were one of the hardest hit countries at the beginning. They shut down. They're cleaning up now.
They shut their whole country down, though. They were like, we're not playing no games.
Yeah. Well, that's what it takes, really. I mean, you look, I saw this was way back, it wouldn't fly here, but China was pushing people back into their houses with military force and stuff. No,
But of course, the problem is here. People like, oh, it's just the government trying to rule people, and in a sense, yeah, the government is doing that, but the government is doing their job. Look, our
right,
job is to make sure our citizens are safe.
right,
And we have a virus that nobody know. It's a novel virus. It's new. Nobody's ever dealt. We've dealt with different strains, but not this. And this one
yeah,
is kicking ass. So what else
hmm
do we do?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's it's. I mean, I spent 15 years in the military, and my whole thing was I was doing it because not everybody in America can do it. There are
Mhm.
people, but I think America needs to be protected. And then shit like this and the social injustice just make me think I threw away 15 years of my life.
You know, and it's
What I
it's
fought
messed up when
for
you can
is
think about it. And it's, you know what, it's messed up when you can reflect back on things that you thought you were helping to change
mm,
and move forward, and you're like, wait, we're going backwards.
yeah, and we're never going to be perfect. Things are never going to be perfect.
Right.
Um, I just watched tonight. It's the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues, the baseball leagues.
Really?
Yeah, and MLB was doing a special on it, and they were at
Mhm.
the Hall of Fame in Kansas City.
I've
The
seen some
music,
of okay, I have seen some of the commercials and ads about that. Okay.
but the director there made a crazy point that I never thought of. Integration was socially and morally correct and the right thing to do, but it actually hurt the African American community economically because the Negro League had all black, not all black, but mostly black owners. Black businesses built up to serve the league, like hotels and
Mhm.
restaurants and other. And while it was socially and morally correct, it crushed the community economically. And that's, I hear the defund the police, and I'm like, oh boy, what are they going to do when to fix this? We're actually going to have to spend more money to fix the
Well, you know what?
police.
This is the thing. I was talking with my daughter's mother and I, we were talking about this. The problem is the wording.
Yeah,
When they said defund the police, it required people to have to think and look up what you exactly mean. They
right.
needed to have another word because everybody
Yeah,
hears defund the police and they're like, you want to take all the money from the police? Like that's not what they're
right,
talking. But because that's the saying, that's the
right.
phrase, it's the instant thing they go to,
Mm,
everybody's already automatically like, what? You're like,
yeah,
no, it doesn't. And we live in this day and age where people don't want to do legit research
right.
and legit study. So you literally have to spoon feed them exactly what you mean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You literally got to say, this is the reason we're saying this. This is what it means. Do not
mm,
let anyone tell you otherwise. This is exactly what it means. And the
yeah,
problem is because it was too late to start telling people defund the police does not mean take away police. It does not mean get rid of the police. It means all that extra unnecessary money that you put into it to do dumb shit, it can go to things like schools, infrastructure, stuff like that.
well, that too. And then, you actually probably need more police officers because always see it. These guys are riding alone now. That that's not a when you're alone, you're in trouble. I mean, why do you think that when I spent a year as a peacekeeper in Kosovo. We didn't
Mhm.
go anywhere smaller than 7 or 8 guys, 2 vehicles. We got there. No one was going to mess with us. That's, I mean, not that, and
Hold on,
that,
wait, it dropped out for a
the,
second. Wait, it dropped out for a second, Jim. Give me a second. Give me a second. It
okay,
dropped out. I'm gonna need you to say exactly what you just said again. Let me make sure I close everything so nothing can be pulling my internet outside of what it needs to be.
okay.
Go ahead and say what you said again.
I spent a year in Kosovo as a peacekeeper. We went everywhere, a squad, 7, 8 guys, 2 armored Humvees. You know, when we rode in, no one was going to mess with us.
Mm-hmm.
When we separated people, they separated because they, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that we were just making our presence known. You
Right.
know, we didn't get into any firefights. We didn't get into any crazy, you know, the worst thing that we had to deal with is, you know, a guy had a trout farm and someone else poured gasoline up above stream and killed his fish. Yeah. People were horrible.
Yeah.
um that's another thing. I've been everywhere except Antarctica.
Oh
And
wow.
they're good people everywhere. They're bad people everywhere.
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
it's I and unfortunately I've seen too many people that just want to hate on someone else, and if it's not race, if it's not skin color, they'll find some religion. They'll find, you know,
Yeah, you're absolutely
if
right.
if magically, you know, all other races would disappear, whatever one's left is going to find a reason not to like some subgroup or some. It's just, I've seen it too many times, you know.
I tell a lot of people this, that some people always go, why can't everybody just get along and everyone just be happy? I'm like, you'll never have that, because
Yeah,
unfortunately, you have to have, that's the reason we call things balance.
yeah,
Even though you're gonna have it, because whether you think, if you have a society of people, you think everybody's getting along, there's gonna be one person at
yeah,
minimum that's gonna
mhm,
hate everything about it.
yeah. And that's why the Joker, you know, there will be a Joker somewhere in every crowd. I
Every
mean,
crowd, yes, it will. But people don't think about that. They're too busy thinking, oh, everybody can't get along, everyone's inherently good. And it's like, no, there's a reason, there's a balance of things. For light, there's dark, for good, there's evil. There
yeah,
will never be one that completely overtakes the other.
that's yeah, and you know what you can do is what I've done is find good people. You know,
Yes, I
doesn't
agree.
matter what they, and you said it about white people using the "I don't see skin color." Well, I'm not blind. If me, you, and Roka are standing somewhere, you know, and someone's off to the side, and someone comes up, where who's Jim Payne, and they point over and say the white guy, or Jay Washington, the black guy. That's just an easy identifier for three big
Right,
dudes standing at a, you know,
exactly.
sometimes we get too sensitive too, and you know, not everything is meant as offense. Not every, it's like when people say they don't, or with Merry Christmas is my thought. You know, that's something nice people are saying to
Oh,
you.
oh
How
my
can you
God.
be offended by someone saying something nice to you?
Dude, that thing still to this day, when that people started getting upset about that, that got me, because they're like, oh, I don't celebrate Christmas. Like, yo, I don't know. So I'm not gonna
Yeah,
sit there and try to figure out what are you celebrating. The easiest thing to say is Merry Christmas, because it's Christmas time. We'll just say Happy Holidays. I've always said Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas.
because
Yeah,
you know why? Even then, even when I was saying it younger, there were still people who were celebrating different things during
yeah,
Christmas, and they didn't let it go and frustrate them and make them
yeah.
completely upset. And it's like, oh, stop it.
If someone come up and wish me happy Kwanzaa, or you know, any other, and I used to work, I used to work with a lot of Indian, Indian the country, not
Yeah,
Native
yeah.
Americans,
No,
but
no, I know what you mean.
they would wish us happy whatever their holiday was. Hey, thanks. You know, I
Hmm.
don't celebrate it, but I understand they are saying something nice to me. You know, they are trying, you know, they're just trying to be friendly. Why would you get offended at that?
But that's because you know what, as somebody who's seen this, I was just talking to some people about it and was like, we're finding anything to be upset about because it's the thing to do. Like, I was looking on Twitter and I saw somebody had wrote an article for comicbook.com about how problematic the movie 300 still is. I said, excuse me. First of all, if we're going to do that, all of history is considered problematic.
Yeah.
Also, it is taken from a historical account, and it was still lightly done. Like the actual historical incident is way worse, and the history of Greece and all those. Like, are you serious?
Yeah. Well, and I told you last time I'm a big D&D player. The new one is they are talking about taking race out of D&D. But when they talk about D&D races, they're talking about dwarves, elves, or, fictional creatures because that is problematic.
To who?
That's there is a and I won't bring, but the toxic masculinity that everybody was attacking a little bit. I
Yeah.
think there's a toxic femininity or the mean girl complex where
Mhm.
I don't like this, so I'm going to talk shit about it or, go behind it. I'm not involved in it, but I'm going to
Mhm.
talk shit about it. I mean, and that's unfair to women because men do that too. But, it is the
Right.
opposite of the physical thing where all these people that, they don't like something, I grew up in the 70s. You didn't pick on the big kid because the big kid could pound you back then. Now they got the mental bullying and verbal bullying that's worse than because if no one picked on me, I didn't pound them.
Oh my
That's
god. It's weird because I was bullied when I was growing up consistently. I was talked about, put a burn on the side of my head, all these different things. And all that did for me personally and many other people I grew up with was made us learn how to talk shit back.
right.
Now, did it hurt our feelings? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just, because the thing used to be, well, why would you let words hurt you? Okay, cool. I'm gonna learn how try not to let them hurt me because I'm gonna hurt them back with the words. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to I don't want to have to physically hurt you because of it. Now, granted, I've gotten into a couple fights. I'd gotten into a couple fights, but all in steel, these are words.
Right.
These are words. Now, it's sad because I low key had to have a discussion with my son who told me he was getting talked about in school, and sometimes he felt like he didn't want to go on, he didn't want to live. He literally had a discussion with me, and I said, "Yo, let me tell you something. You have a mouth. You
Mm-hmm.
better use it." I
Yeah.
said, first and foremost, I said, you know how to talk shit with the rest of them. Do it.
Yeah.
I said, so what if you don't win the verbal battle? You don't back down.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody just try to demean you with words when you can literally hit back just as hard. I told people like, yo, the last thing you ever want me to do is to have to berate you verbally because I will cut like a deep knife
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't play fair.
Yeah. And with your background as a wrestler and a comedian, that's that's like black belt level there.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, what you don't want is you don't want to get in a battle of words with me because you get in a battle of words with me, then you're going to sit there and regret it. Because the thing is, if I get started, I can keep going until I get tired. And if I'm going off anger, I'm going.
Yeah. And I mean, every time's had, ever being 50 something, I can remember when we were the idiot kids and, it's like, you and Winston with the WAP video the other day. I can
Yeah.
remember when, D. Snyder got drug in front of Congress because Tipper Gore wanted to ban heavy metal, not even
Yep.
heavy metal, it was rock.
Yep.
It's not like today. So that's been going on forever. It's like,
But I think that whole discussion was so dumb to me because when I saw dudes talk about she's a mother or they're supposed to be role models to young women, I'm like, bruh, I know even people I know, I'm like, bro, I know what you listen to. Stop it.
yeah,
Like, I know exactly what you listen to. I know what you will recite. I know what you have listened to. Like, don't do that.
yeah,
Don't do that.
yeah. And I'm not a huge fan of the song. I mean, yeah, they're nice to look at, but I'm not going to listen to it. But
Right.
You know, I'll go throw on DMX or some old 80s, 70s music or, you know, whatever I've liked over the years, and I don't have to worry about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's
But I
a,
think the
yeah,
thing you I used to do a radio show back in Chicago, and my old co-host J.R. Bang used to say this thing like, some of the stuff that's out new ain't meant for you to bop to. It's
right,
not made for you.
right.
Like, okay. And then once I had to realize that, I was like, okay, so it's cool if I don't like this, or if I
Yeah,
do like something, even though the generation that makes the music now ain't literally made for me. It's made for the generation they know that listens to it. Granted,
yeah.
there's gonna be people of all generations who listen to something and then have an opinion on it, but it's like, come on.
Well, and there are good songs that come out today. I think fewer, but that's just because they're not, like, as you said, they're not made for me, but they're ones I get into that come out now.
Mhm.
You know, I can go back into the 50s and 60s. You know, as a little kid, I remember there was a TV show called Sha Na Na where they did in the 70s and 80s, they did 50s music and little funny skits, and I loved that. It was,
Right.
but you know, I hear kids today listening to 80s music all the time. Like, that was 40 years ago, you know?
You know what? First of all, let me tell you something how disturbing that is to hear that phrase. I'm an 80s baby. So when somebody says, that was 40 years ago,
Uh, yeah,
oh,
my 35-year class reunion's coming up this fall.
oh.
That's
So my birthday, a lot of people don't know, but I'll be 40 on my birthday.
uh,
And so, I try to keep myself looking as healthy as I can. So my daughter, my 6-year-old, I was talking to her earlier today. And I was like, Daddy's birthday in 9 days. She's like, yeah, oh yeah. She's like, how old are you gonna be? And I just sat there and I was like, I'm gonna be 40. Daddy's gonna be 40. She said, what? Wow. Then went to her mama, Mommy, Dad's gonna be 40. I was like, yo, can you not do it like that? Like, she was like, Mom, Dad's gonna be 40. I was like, calm down, kid.
it's amazing how old you aren't when you get there compared to what you thought of as a kid or what kids would
Bro,
think of.
I'm the same way.
That's
I'm like, I could have never imagined, I never would have thought. I remember growing up, I thought what I saw in the Jetsons and some other like cartoons was going to be the thing for just the 2000s, just
yeah.
the 2000s. And
Mm,
then when I still hadn't got a flying car yet, I was like, so this is nothing.
yeah. That's you know, you were alive in 2000, but everybody was freaking about Y2K. And as a computer program, I'm like, okay, this is nothing. One, they wrote the code months ago, years ago to fix it, and
Uh,
you know, uh, people,
oh, I remember people losing their minds.
yeah,
I remember people going, "Oh my god." They're like, "Oh my god, it's going to be so bad. Everything's going to shut down. Planes are going to fall out the sky." And you were like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't
no,
think that's a
no,
thing."
they were. I forget what TV station was, but they were going around the world every year or every hour. They would drop in a country to for the 2000 New Year, and
Mhm.
they were in a village in Africa that didn't have power before this, and the lights were still on and the cameras were still working. It's like, okay, if they can make it work there, I think we're gonna be
I
okay.
think we're gonna be fine. I think we'll be okay. I mean, if this village is
Mhm.
okay, I think the rest of us might be perfectly fine. I guess people just wanted to be, again, when you have people who buy up airtime and buy up billboard and advertising space to tell you that it's about to be the end,
Yeah,
then we as people don't know how to discern stuff for ourselves. We're too
yeah.
busy being like, oh shit, they're right. Like, nah. Like the preacher dude that told us the 2020 end of the world of Mayan thing, and he was buying billboards. I remember seeing
Yeah.
them everywhere in Chicago. And I
Mm.
literally would look at my watches and be like, so when's it supposed to happen? Oh, tomorrow? Okay, let's
Yeah,
see. And nothing happens.
yeah. I think I've survived the end of the world about 3 or 4 times now, you know? World's coming to an end? Yeah, okay.
I've survived the end of the world 3, 4 times. Like I've been past this apocalypse phase. Like like don't give me to the idiocracy part of the world. Let's do that. Let's
Yeah,
do that one.
yeah, we are heading towards that one.
Heading, heading, heading.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
here.
there's still a few of us out there holding it off.
I mean, yeah, the entire world isn't full of idiots, but
Yeah.
whew,
They
whew,
seem to be growing in population.
they're spreading.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
spreading, and you're like, what is you used to and I say you as a whole with society,
Mhm.
you used to be the type of person to give people the benefit of the doubt. You
Yeah.
used to see you're like, okay, people as a whole can't be this dense, right? They
Mm.
can't really be this dumb. That's not a thing. That's
Yeah.
not possible. And then you look and you're like, well, I'll be damned.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they
I'll be damned.
I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but I have been disappointed many times.
I think the past, not even just 4 years, the past 8 years have really shown me how much on a downward slope we are when it comes to people and common sense more than anything else.
Mm,
When I started seeing the birth of many conspiracy theories more than ever
yeah.
that are just the dumbest things ever, and like, oh, you just really want to just think anything and believe
Mm,
whatever's thrown your way, huh? That's literally how you feel. And you
yeah.
see that, and then you see the way people glom onto it. Like
Mhm.
I posted the other day on Facebook, I said, "So is 5G still gonna kill us, or are we waiting on like you know what are we waiting on? Are we waiting on the coronavirus to come out of the clouds again?" Because
Yeah.
again, everything people kept saying with these conspiracy theories, they're like, "It's gonna happen. Watch, bro. It's been 7 months. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?" I
The
don't. I people just ugh,
on
ugh.
the one side you got the conspiracy theories, and the other side, 2020 is the perfect year for this because we got hindsight like crazy, talking about everything in the past is problematic. Yeah, it's the past. You
It's
know,
yeah, it's the past. That's why it's called hindsight. And hindsight is 2020. Like,
well, it's
dude,
and
go ahead.
I see the problem. Like, but Song of the South take. I forget who was talking about. Yeah, it's not of this time. But you know who in 1946 liked it? Everybody. Go on oh, Box Office Mojo. It made 46 million dollars. The next movie I think didn't even make 10. So, you know, it's yes, it doesn't fit today, but you can't discredit because it just happened because then that was, you
Well,
know,
I think the thing is now, the thing is for me personally, as a black dude, when it comes to Song of the South, like, yo, we know what it is. Like, we know what it is. Okay, cool. It's a fucked up movie because
mm,
again, we also know who Walt Disney was. Like,
yeah,
there's no denying this. So we know it was a very messed up movie. But when people start saying, "Oh, they trying to erase history," no, 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 no. No one's erasing history. They're just informing everybody before they watch. Like when people get
yeah,
mad because of the disclaimers in front of things, like, no, no, they're not
yeah,
erasing history. They're informing you this is you gonna see some bullshit.
yeah,
So we know it's outdated, but it's
mm,
just you finna watch this movie. It's some bullshit though.
yeah. Well, and that's I guess my thing is if you don't see the bullshit, you don't know what bullshit is.
Right.
you,
And people
you
always
know,
believe
and
like I don't want I'm for one, I'm not about changing anything of history as
yeah,
far as like people like, oh, why are we getting rid of Confederate monuments? I'm like, first of all, there never should have been statues of these dudes. Like,
there's the only
would you say?
place, the only place I live not too far from Gettysburg.
Uh,
Gettysburg's a place that should have it because it tells you, like the monument says, this is where this person stood before he charged. You know,
right.
it's it's not in the middle of town square because their ancestors got pissed off because they got their ass kicked and they were wrong to begin with.
And then when you tell people, because these are the same people who voted a certain way, and you be like, yo, y'all all about winning, right? Okay, if you're about winning, why are you celebrating losers?
Yeah.
That's what these statues are. They're celebrating losers. And then on top of that, okay, it's history. That's fine, but you do realize what part of history it's celebrating, right?
Yeah.
That you're trying to stick up for. Like when
Yeah.
everybody in Chicago, when people in Chicago all of a sudden cared about the Christopher Columbus statue, never gave a shit about it. But
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus should have never been idolized anywhere.
No,
Anywhere. That's why they changed the date of the holiday to Indigenous Peoples Day. Like, if they let people know something like, yo, this might not be somebody we should celebrate.
Right. And what he did really wasn't, we found, how do you find somewhere that people already that at,
Like, you don't, how do you find something that already exists?
Yeah.
You don't discover someplace where people are there like, yo, I discovered a land that you are already on.
Yeah.
That kind of work.
And granted,
then he was sorry to cut you off. Then they found out he was a psychopath, and no one wanted to hire him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, that's why he had to go to Spain.
Spain.
Because no one in Italy would back him.
None.
But that's all, it's 600 years ago. It's a story. Okay, so we remember them, but you don't celebrate them. You don't.
Right.
You don't. And two, I being older, and you're old enough too. You remember in elementary school, they dumb shit down for us so much that but it is.
It was this quick. Hey, Columbus, he sailed the ocean in 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and then he was on an independence to Santa Maria, and they supposedly brought spices that so America, yay, right? They move on. Like that's how they tried to do it. But the thing is, I was reading people arguing online about, well, what are they going to do? Change history books? Yes, to reflect the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to change it to anything, don't change it to try to soften it up or just take it away. Just tell the truth. That's what history is. Tell the truth. Tell people about, let kids know these are who people actually were. And the only reason Columbus has to be in that is because you celebrated him. Now, if you stop celebrating them, we really don't need to have that discussion about dude anymore.
No, well, and he did lead into some other more horrific things with the other Spaniards.
But that's the thing. He's like everybody's like, yo, Christopher Columbus is a very terrible dude. Then I saw people from Chicago going, this is disrespectful. This is racist towards Italians. I said, first of all, if he wasn't, first of all, if he wasn't, he's Italian. Okay, cool. His own country didn't want any shit to do with him. Number one. Number two. Do you really want to idolize a murderer, a rapist, and a known psychopath? And it was proven historically. If that's what you want to say is part of your proud heritage, you need to reevaluate yourself.
Yeah.
But people don't do that, man.
Yeah, and we do cling to heroes, that's what the South's doing. Robert E. Lee was so great. No, he wasn't. I mean, the only time he won was when he was fighting in his backyard and he knew the terrain better than the North Union generals. I don't even like calling them North and South because it's the United States who fought another country in the Civil War.
Yeah.
The Confederate States of America were not
the United States.
Yeah. Yep. And it does annoy me too when people say, well, the U.S. supported. Well, from the beginning, we were trying to get rid of slavery. I don't know if you ever saw 1776, the musical. It's old 70s things, but it comes down to start the revolution. Benjamin Franklin and Sam Adams and all are trying to but it has to be unanimous. And it comes down to, we can either let the South keep slavery, or we can start a new nation. We can't do both at this point. And that history's filled with that kind of stuff where you have to let something that's wrong go to do something that's good to get it moved forward.
Yeah.
Then they fought for years through the legislature trying to stop slavery and other things, but because the South was they had passed where one state from each side, you couldn't add a free state without adding a slave state. You could never get ahead to stop. So finally we had to go to war about it, and really the US didn't go to war because of that. It's no, you can't leave us. You're part of our country.
Right.
But the South was no. We want to keep slavery, so we're going to start a war about it.
I tried to tell somebody, I tried to tell somebody, like, do you understand that slavery was the law of the land in the South? Like, it was legal. Mm-hmm. Can you justify that? And then somebody's like, well, you're trying to find some way to justify this. Yeah. Slavery was legal. Lynching was legal. All these just despicable things were illegal. And then when you also tell somebody, when you hear somebody goes, oh, the South gonna rise again. First of all, what the fuck do you think this is? Like, against who?
Yeah. That's especially since it's not a majority, but a good chunk of the military now is African American. There's a lot of them, it's
and don't get me started on all these Second Amendment gun nuts. Like, I have no problem if you can own a firearm legally, own it. Yes. Mm-hmm. But the ones talking about I have my firearms in case the government gets tyrannical. What the fuck do you call what's happening now?
Yeah.
Like, y'all real quiet now.
Yeah.
Like,
and let's face these guys, and I know a lot of them because a lot of them live around me, but you have no chance against the military if it came down to that.
Can you say it one more time? Because some people swear up and down that if the military came, that no matter how many guns they have, they think they would actually have a chance. Like, you're a one dude shooting guns. This is a trained military.
Yeah. Well, and you can blame Hollywood a little for that too, because they'll do that story. The one guy holding off. No,
Oh yeah, he's been dug in a hole, and the military can't get to him for X amount. You're like, hey man, let's just be real. The military, as soon as when they want this done, it's done, and there's nothing you can do. Right. Like, I hate when you try to tell people that, and they're like, they don't know about me and my gun skills. You're talking about a military.
Yeah. Well, I was in the National Guard for a lot of the years, and we went down to Fort Stewart before we went to Kosovo. Mm-hmm. And the instructors down there, their jaws dropped because everyone in our unit could shoot. We were all older, had been shooting for a long. They're like, you guys don't miss, do you? No, not really. we played this game before,
We were ready for this.
Yeah, but that's even if you got 100 people together with, even if they have assault rifles, the military has artillery. They got aircraft.
Like, people forget, like, yo, you think we're just talking soldiers on the ground? Like, your assault rifle versus an arsenal of artillery. Which one do you think legitimately has a chance? Yeah. Because God forbid you actually kill a soldier. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna stand. Do you realize how much worse it's gonna get?
Yeah. You find out how much green lives matter because we'll stick together over.
Military stands together over actual police in situations. Like, people are so dense, bro. It's when you try to tell them things that are based in reality, And then they're just so stuck in their own scenarios in their head in which they've plotted and planned out. You're like, no, this is not what you think this is. Yeah. Because what you think is gonna happen is your really lucid dream, because what in reality, they're not gonna play with you.
Yeah.
No. There isn't no, we got a bunch of cars and we got a negotiator lined up. If you are a credible, from what I've heard from all my veteran friends, if you are a credible threat, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's
a wrap.
It's a different, and we talked, or well, that was after, but the Robert Meyer Burnett quote, you can't have people doing that, one, because they're not trained to. The military is, though. If they had called out the National Guard and soldiers were, the minute, one, I don't think those people would have pulled a gun on that retired police officer, because if the military was there, we're trained to escalate to the situation. I see a gun, I'm going to put 2 in that person.
Yeah, because now, right, that's a credible threat.
That's a credible threat, and that's a little different than, like, I know murder is murder's the only civilian thing that carries. There's a couple things the military has that we could be executed for, but murder's the only one that could have a death sentence.
Okay.
Like treason, if we were found guilty of treason, you could
absolutely
be killed in the military and a couple other. Yeah, and that's the other thing. We need the police to have the military. They want to be the military? Okay, play by our rules. Because if we would have done what they did to George Floyd to a prisoner, all of our asses are in Leavenworth for life, or we're dead. We're we get charged with murder. We get, taken home. We don't have a union to fight for us. We don't have, all that civilian. You're just done. You don't commit a war crime, which is basically what they did to him.
But because but I've always said this for years. I've said this for years and said it publicly as well. I think you've heard me say it. It's police officers that are some bad, but it's the police unions that make everything worse.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unions should be a really good thing, but they, like everything, they can turn real bad.
Ooh, I really believe unions were started by the mob. In my heart, I believe, because that's the only way you can explain how they operate and what they are allowed to do. Because we used to have a union when I worked at the airport, where, like, one of the rules was if you were driving any of the equipment and you bumped a plane, like, you didn't have to cause any damage. If you bumped it, you're almost ready to lose your job. But then here comes a union rep to save you, which is a good thing. But I've seen union reps save jobs of people who should be gone.
Yeah, I've had a few of those jobs too, and it's one of those things that's meant to do good, but ends up not.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I've seen people that should have lost jobs get saved, like you said, saved by union. Really, even the players' unions in these sports leagues drive me nuts at sometimes.
Baseball has the best one.
Yeah.
Think about it. Baseball is the reason. Think about the money those players get, and that's due to the baseball union.
Yeah.
I mean, even the NBA, excuse me, the NFL, we still everybody trying to get them to be on the, like, hey, pay these people, please. Like, one of those.
There's this weird that it's not balanced in the NFL, because Mahomes just made $500 million. He is now he's a minority owner of the Royals, but he someday he's probably going to own the Royals because of this.
When I heard Patrick Mahomes got $500 million, I was like, okay, wait, what? Like, because remember, 160, 170 was what you would hear for a quarterback. And I'm like, if you told me Patrick Mahomes got 170, I'm like, yeah, he deserves it. You told me Patrick Mahomes got $500 million. I'm sitting here like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How much money is available for players now if you just gave him
Right.
500 million.
Yeah, you're gonna have your second or third team outside linebacker that's gonna be making what 100K maybe, if that. Whatever the league minimum is.
And he busted his ass to make that. And that's the thing too. Like when you hear people forget when they hear like, okay, such and such is making $100,000. Okay, let's ask yourself these questions. Number one, is he represented by anybody? Because if he is, you can pretty much chop 25 to 30% of his money gone. Now, you need to chop taxes out depending on where he lives. And because he plays for a certain team, his taxes are coming from that state.
Yeah.
So now a player that you think is making $100,000 just beat his soul up for maybe $50,000 a year, if that.
Yeah.
If that.
If that, because he's probably, like you said, a lot of those guys are supporting multiple people.
So dude probably has an NFL salary for a 16-game season, including preseason and practice, of about total. He can celebrate with maybe $2,000-$3,000 total.
Yeah.
Like he's literally working for everybody else.
And like you said, even in baseball, except for the very young kids until they hit arbitration, those guys, but most of them are living off of the $1 million they signed in the draft,
Yeah.
So they know their money's there. It's not like football where 2-3 years is a career now for some players.
Baseball is the one career where you have the most longevity potential. As long as you keep yourself healthy, you can have longevity for a very long time. Again, we all know about football. One unfortunate play, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Basketball, the same thing. Basketball, you can have a play that messes up your knees and you're done. Now, granted, we've had players that come back, but you can mess up your knees and you done.
Crossover Jesus get you.
Man, look,
I love that. I love that.
When I saw Jesus crossed, I could not stop. Matter of fact, you've just tickled my soul again because I keep thinking about it. The picture of Jesus with the ball like this, and then the thing said Jesus crossed. Oh,
who was the player? I can't remember his name. He had said something stupid, and
Isaac. Jonathan Isaac from the from the Orlando Magic. God don't like ugly.
Karma is a bitch.
Like you never know when it's gonna come back around, but when it do, oh, that's your ass. Like,
But yeah, I mean those unions are probably not as bad as the police union and some others in their corruption, but they're not balanced. They're not doing what a union's supposed to do.
I know another union that's terrible too, and that's my union, the SAG-AFTRA union. As much as they're supposed to be for us, they just jacked up all for like people who get the SAG-AFTRA health insurance. They just shot up the premium prices for people in a time where when many actors aren't acting.
Yeah.
Like people aren't working.
Yeah. That's again, that one kind of flies under the radar of most of us because I don't think about them, but they're another one like the NFL where they're protecting their high end players, but they're not taking care of the rank and file, it seems.
Oh no, and also they had to when they just recently renegotiated the contract, they had to make sure they put in things for retirees. Because like some people retire and there are the select few that don't have anything to do, that don't have any skills, any skills outside of the game. And so now they're trying to, get by until they can figure out something. Now, granted, I've seen a bunch of players who have gone into who transitioned into businesses and everything. And, they'll tell you about their time they played the game, but then they're like, yeah, that was then. I'm about this now. And it's so amazing to see.
Yeah.
I think those are the most amazing ones to see, like football players, even pro wrestlers, like big name pro wrestlers, not just, oh, he was a wrestler here and there. Like when you see somebody who was not not a super major name, but like a good
Yeah.
mid card or almost main event name. And like now they're out the business and they own their own business and they're doing stuff and they're just enjoying life as is. They're like, I
Yeah.
don't have to be involved with the business. I might do an appearance here or there every now and then, but I don't have to. And that is always a good thing.
Yeah. No, I think, and that was one thing. Did you ever watch the Dark Side of the Ring series?
I got to watch them all, but I started watching them.
Okay, I hadn't heard you talk. I watched all of them, and it's
The
like,
New Jack one was the one I wanted to see the most because I was like, I want to see if they see. For me, it was only just I wanted to see if they was going to tell something I hadn't heard or known already. And then when I heard how much cocaine he did, I was like, well, I kind of knew that one too. So this is like,
I knew about New Jack. I didn't see him a lot, but some of the stuff in his was, you know, the one where he just pulled out a knife in the middle of the ring and started stabbing dude. Like, okay. I mean,
look, you say you in a hardcore match, anything goes with the dude who was known for slicing open some young kid who lied about his age, which everybody see that was the thing too with the mass transit incident. Everybody tried to blame New Jack, and I'm like, no, it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's not you. Like if Shorty died, unfortunately, she died later, but that's not his fault. Like New Jack is in the match, everything. Dude says he's an age. Ain't nobody checking it. Like you say, you 21 and ever. Hey,
well, and that's
but
the way they put it in the document. Why wasn't there a booker or someone handling? Because they said they were just talking, and this kid, the 16, 17, whatever he was asking New Jack to put over his moves. And this, I've never wrestled, and I know that ain't how that works.
Let me tell you something. It doesn't happen with people. It happens with you get a lot of new talent, a lot of green talent. That's 1, 2, maybe 5 years in the business, and they'll wrestle a vet. And they're trying to call the whole match or say what they are going to do. And I've watched numerous vets sit back and go, okay. Okay. You think we're doing all of that? You sure? Well, I gotta get my no, you get what I give you.
Yeah.
You get what I give you. And then you have these kids who have an ego who think because, oh, I should be able to do all my stuff. No. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
You might work your friends on a show where both of y'all just want to make sure you get every single thing in you do. But like that shit don't always happen.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, when you take a booking, do you know whether you're going over before, or is it something they tell you when you get there?
Depends. It depends on what everything is gonna lead up to. Like sometimes if you just get asked to come do the show, you'd be like, more than likely you don't find out unless you already know that you being booked for X amount of shows, they're gonna have you run with something, and you're like, all right, cool. More than likely I'm going over these matches. 9 times out of 10, you don't know. You don't know. I've had times I've been in the ring where I've done shows that have, like every show is different, especially independent shows. I've done shows that have been so professional where it's been, the ref has the earpieces for people in the back where they have had to change the finish on the fly.
Yeah.
I might be going over now, switching, they're going over, or vice versa, or other people. I've seen that happen. It depends. Sometimes they're like, all right, we're just gonna keep it where it is. And sometimes they're like, yo, we can flip the storyline and we can do this. And it just is a matter of being able to roll with it.
Yeah. It reminds me, I did find a Team Damn It match. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't find as many of your matches. I looked after we talked last time, and I think I only found
a lot of mine are. I've been looking for. I don't think a lot of mine are online. Unfortunately, a lot of the companies, like only where I know a lot of matches I might have online or anything that's through IWA Mid South. Yeah. Anything that I did with IWA Mid South is online. The Chikara stuff is online. But like some of the other promotions, I know some of the Elite Pro Wrestling stuff. I don't know if it's online directly, but like some of the stuff is online. So,
I found
which one did you find?
Team Damn It versus, was it Eric Starr and Mr. 450?
Damn, when was that one? Damn, where'd you find that one?
It was on, I think it was a YouTube link.
Let me see if I can find it.
You did the bit where you drug him along. He was sitting on the top rope, and you and Willie drug him down the from one corner to the other.
Oh my God, I gotta see. Oh my God, Mr. 450. Oh, this is hilarious. Because me and Mr. 450, we still cool to this day. Like we talk a lot.
Yeah. So is Willie still wrestling, or?
Yeah. Oh yeah, his old ass still wrestling. We were just talking the other day. He was training. He was in a training practice last Thursday. And I, said, I was like, yo, listen, I'm coming home for my birthday. I want to come and train with y'all. And he was like, hell yeah, because he's been trying. So Willie been trying to get me to tag with him and do some stuff for the longest. Willie been trying to get me to. Oh my God, I see it. Yo, hold on. I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna pull this. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up in this thing. Hold on, that's just fucking funny. You got me. Damn it, Jim says screen application window. No, that's the Chrome tab. Team David is 450. All right, that should be it. There you go. Let's see. Oh, turn the volume down on it a little bit.
There you go.
That's all damn. That's the all damn. That's funny. That's hilarious. I'm finna tweet this to him. I'm gonna copy share this so I can tweet it to him. I'm gonna tweet it to 450 and be like, hey bro, you remember this? Dude, thank you for taking me down memory lane real quick. Because so the thing is, because one of the biggest things for me was remembering my moveset. Because I hadn't been in the ring in so long. So I was like, what was I doing regularly? And what can I do now that's a little bit different?
Yeah.
And so now, like, I got this thing now where one of the things I love doing is I'll take them in the corner, I'll splash them, give them a snapmare, put them down, sit them up, run blockbuster, come back up, run a knee to the face. Wow. Like it's just me going.
So where are you looking to work now that you're coming back?
Anywhere that's solid. I want to do a lot of shit in Vegas. Vegas looks like a very nice spot to work. So my goal is to maybe get some matches out in Vegas, do some stuff with maybe FSW versus Pro. I know a company called Big Valley, but I don't see anybody that I really know that's really working in it. I want to do that. I want to do some stuff out. Well, all the shit I wanted to do out here is the only thing I want to do out here is championship. I want to do championship wrestling from Hollywood.
Is that Jamie Iovine? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jamie's the homie. I wanted to do bar wrestling, but that's not happening ever again. Freelance is one of the ones I want to do when I go back home. I want to try to get into freelance because it looks like they have some freelance and Zello Pro, whatever it is. I want to do a couple of those. I just want to. Now I just want to work again. I want to just work. I've had fun getting back in and getting my body to feel what it is and do what I need to do. I want to work again, and I want to, I want to entertain again. Like I like entertaining every way I do. I want to be able to say, I want to go home, for instance, one day and one weekend. All right, Saturday, y'all can see me Friday, y'all can see me on stage. Saturday, y'all can catch me in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. I want to do that. I'm gonna see, like, nobody I know really is running yet in Chicago.
Yeah.
Not even outdoor show. Like, I think I saw one outdoor show.
Yeah, there was one outdoor show I saw,
Go ahead.
or I saw announced they did one show down by the river, in a park along a river somewhere.
Yeah, I saw one that was at on a football field.
I didn't see that
In
one.
Marist High School on the South Side. I saw that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that was cool. I saw that. So I wouldn't mind. Again, I have no issues with it. I've done something where I've done an empty arena show, because I got asked to fill in last minute. So I was like, cool, I'll do it. And I just want to keep working as of right now. I just want to be able to get back and, just have fun and perform and go to my utmost level. Everybody's like, yo, are you trying to go to TNA or AEW or WWE? I'm like, listen, if it happens, it happens. I'm more than happy for it. Especially my thought process now is I would love to do it to jumpstart, to help push my career, even my acting and stand-up career further. That's my main thing. Like, I just want to go further with that. So
have you seen Stephen Amell is doing a wrestling show?
Yeah, let me tell you something. I was beyond frustrated. I told my manager, I was like, hey, I need to get on this. Yeah. I know James Harrison is on the show.
Yeah. The linebacker?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
James Harrison plays one of the wrestlers. So they had Chavo training everybody at the spot I train at.
Mm-hmm.
So Chavo was training all the guys to learn to wrestle and everything. And a lot of them were catching on quickly. Mm-hmm. And so it was super cool with that. One of the things too, when I train, a lot of WWE and Impact and AEW guys and even NWA guys come and train with us too. So we're all training together. And so it's super dope. Like, I was learning last week a lot from Paul London. He's my homeboy's roommate. And so Paul London was training and giving a lot of advice and a lot of storytelling and psychology advice, which I love more because I'm all about telling the story in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what made me fall in love with the wrestling, as a kid, because you could, and it wasn't the promos or the side bits. It was the story in the ring. I don't know. Do you remember the Strongbows? Chief J and Jules?
Yeah.
They would do, you could see them go down and then they would not Hulk up, but they would come back. They'd do their comeback. And that was just great. I mean, that's storytelling, And
damn, that's surely, I mean, but that's the thing. People forget about, like, I like a good story, like somebody, whether the babyface is being beat down or the heel is just, he can't get the babyface down no matter what he does, no matter how dirty he or she plays. The stories are always the best part because people forget that's the part of wrestling that everybody liked.
Yeah.
Back in the days in the 70s, early 80s, when people were heels, they were heels.
Yeah.
Like, if you hated somebody, you hated them.
Mm-hmm.
Not now.
Nah, now's the anti-hero or the Stone Cold, which was a good, when Stone Cold did it was great, but now when everybody's trying.
When Austin did it, it was great because it was different. The one constant thing that I do love, no matter what, that I'm gonna stand by right now is the Fiend, because the Fiend is something that can never be turned face.
Well, and he, unfortunately, Bray, Husky Harris, whatever it seems like they don't know what they got with him. I think
they don't.
And the way they work, or they don't know how to treat his character because they've messed him up so many times.
Well, they put him in so many different. So Bray has an ear. He has Vince McMahon's ear. So like he'll give a suggestion potentially, and Vince will take that and run with it. But the problem is, if you lose, dude, because the Fiend is something now. I don't think the WWE can trademark.
Yeah.
Because like that mask is his. Like, that's not the WWE made it.
Yeah.
Like, he could get a whole new music made. Like, matter of fact, I don't think his music is even. I think that it's licensed to the WWE, but it's Code Orange's music.
Yeah.
It's not his, it's not there. So it's like, imagine, can you imagine one night when everything's back to normal, maybe 2-3 years down the line,
Mm.
you didn't heard Bray Wyatt got released, and you're watching the AEW show in the main event, and all of a sudden you see somebody learn to do those lights the way they did it with the shutdown.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden in the middle of the ring is this motherfucker blonde dreadlocks and all.
Yeah. Yeah, there are, I mean, there's still a lot of good in wrestling. You got to find it now sometimes these
Yes,
days, but it's it does remind one other, and I don't know how to kind of transition into this, but you work heel mostly, right?
absolutely. I love it.
Okay, but you would be so great as a baby face, and the what person that I have in mind, I did, Awesome Kong. I saw
I
her
love
wrestle. I love her. I love her, but I saw her wrestle so many times, and it was always. And then I saw her on Glow, and I'm like, oh, man, she could have been Dude at Love. She could have done anything she wanted
mhm.
that would have been,
Well,
you
the
know,
problem is, I think the problem was, and it's not a bad thing, is that everyone came to know her as Awesome Kong. Everyone
uh,
came to know who this ass kicker was. She
oh
was never anything less than an ass kicker. So if
yeah,
you tried to make this ass kicker something else, we all look at it, wrestling fans and
yeah,
wrestling wrestlers, we look at it like, hold
yeah,
on,
yeah.
what are you doing?
But then you see her comedy timing and yeah, her
Oh,
her abilities. She she could have done something else. Is just
she could have done something magical with that.
yeah. I mean, and you think she was great as Awesome Kong, but really, you watch her matches, they're pretty much not the same. I'm not saying she's the same ever, but it is to different levels. Kong's gonna kick ass because well,
Mhm.
she's Kong and should. But you know, if you gave not a dude love or but if she was something different, she could still kick ass. But it was
It would have to fit her. No, I
yeah.
get what you're saying. It
Oh,
would, the gimmick would have to
yeah,
fit her.
yeah, and I'm not saying I could. It's just the talent she has
No, I know
that.
exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you
Yeah,
mean.
and I'd say the same with you is you know your talents. Yeah, you can be the angry black guy or you know the urban gladiator, but you could go and do something off the wall
Oh, I got an
that's
idea.
different.
I got an idea I've been thinking about for a while now, and this has been a long. Like, if I ever thought if I really wanted to start trying to change stuff up, what I want to do is I want to do almost like almost a split personality type deal where I'll
Mm,
come like if I'm cutting promos and everything, I'm in a sweater and saying glasses and everything, and I'm just
mhm,
chill and real talkative. I'm like, hey man, real passive aggressive on stuff until I have to have a match. Now, if I
uh-huh,
have to have a match, all of a sudden, let's say I'm in the ring with a t-shirt, a polo and sweater, some jeans and whatnot, and then I'm real passive aggressive. Well, I happen to have a match. I can take that off, and under it is like, oh, he's ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the wrestling gear on, like
uh,
let's go, like
yeah,
let's do this. So I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about different things to elevate the character. Like I
yeah,
don't like I'm trying to I like being the heel, the dude. I want
yeah.
to be the dude more so who gets to talk more
Hmm.
because I always love being on the mic, of course.
Well, and that was the other thing about Kong. She never talked as Kong. Now I would talk to her at intermissions, and she was a great person.
Mhm.
And then you see her but as Kong, she never cut promos. She never. It was just angry face. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yep.
And hey, that's I heard Kevin Nash talk about when someone was complaining about his 5 moves. He says, "Well, look at Nolan Ryan. This guy had a fastball, and you know, you stick with what works." Is I guess the
And I think that's the thing too with wrestling. A lot of wrestlers we believe we need to have a full this repertoire that is this
mm,
big ass binder worth of things we do. And
mm,
the fact is, as long as we know our basics, we
yeah,
know the basics of how to work and what we need to do, our intermediates in a sense. And when we have these specific 5 to 6, 7, 10 moves you're good. You don't need to have, as long as you can work, you don't need to have a, oh man, well, I do a twist and corkscrew off of a backflip. You're like, I don't,
Yeah.
shit.
And then you get into those moves that are clearly you need the other person's consent or help. That they they kind of annoy me.
I don't know if I ever told you about this match we did. I don't know if we talked about it last time or not. It was me and Willie. We were in Danville, Illinois, and we were brought in for this company, and we were working. It was me and him working this tag team match against these two younger dudes. And so Willie and I, we didn't get ready. We sitting there playing the fucking. We were brought first. We were brought in as a surprise, so not even the guys who were working us kind of knew yet. They just knew they were working two dudes. So we were brought in as a surprise. We come out, cut a promo, go back, get ready. The guys come. So Willie and I got dressed. We ready, and we sitting up playing a Street Fighter arcade game they got. And so one of the young guys, way smaller than the both of us, hey guys, so I was thinking I could go, jump off the ropes and give a 450 splash to the both of you guys on the outside, and then you guys can throw me in, and I can hit you guys with a double drop kick. We both looked at him up and down and was like, nope, and kept playing the game. Literally kept playing the game. He got pissed, and then the booker was like, yeah, they have the right to say no. They're the veterans in this situation. Yeah. It's not like we were trying to be assholes, but everything he said was completely unbelievable.
Yeah, that's
man.
That goes back to us talking earlier about if you're a new guy, learn from the veterans. Don't go in there with your ideas. I haven't been backstage at shows, but I've been to enough to see what's going on. It's better when
when I'm new in somebody's house. If I'm if I'm brought into a promotion, I'm new in your house. All right, what do you guys want? All right, now let me add some suggestions here and there because I'm new to your house. I'm a guest in your house. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't, unless I'm a major star coming in, it's a whole different ballgame. But I want to show a level of respect. This is your house. This is your house. Now, when we call this, now you're not finna come in. I'm not finna go into your house and you think you finna embarrass me because that's for sure not finna happen. I'm pretty mass. we're not gonna do that. I worked this one dude and he was like, dude kept telling me, yeah, I got 15 years in the business. And I was like, all right, cool, bet. Got in the ring and granted, this was my first match back after a while. You know what I'm saying? I know I got rust, but I'm hearing this. I got 15 years. We can do this, blah, blah, blah. And then certain things are happening. And I'm like, yo, I might not have my wheels in full timing, but nothing is saying this 15 years experience the way you bragging it. Like, if we just go, look, let's work. I mean, yo, if you don't feel like you need to call a match, we can walk and talk the whole thing. I'm fine with that. I can walk and talk the whole thing. However, if you're not gonna think that because you think you're better than better than somebody, like, nah, man, I don't, man. Look, man.
Yeah.
This is dude. This is. I want to save some because we can keep going this conversation. I want to save it.
I realized we ran over last time, and we're even further along now.
Dude, but that's the thing. That's one thing I love when I'm having these combos because they're getting good, and it's not one of those where you're like, all right, it's almost an hour, we got to stop. No, it's like let's just talk. But I know we can keep having these discussions that go, and I want to continue to have these. So, Jim, I always want to thank you for being a member of the squad. Thank you for supporting myself, as well as supporting what me and Winston do on Blurts in the Hood. You are a treat and a pleasure, my man. And if you got anything you want to plug, you want to tell anybody anything, that floor is yours.
Like I said, I don't get on Twitter because I have common sense, and I don't need that aggravation.
You're a smart man, sir.
I will plug two of my buddies are drawing online comics. Something Positive is one of them, and the other is called Rival Angels. Just Google them; you should find them. Rival Angels is actually a wrestling. It's about 4 women that start their career in wrestling with like a big fictional company, and they're going through that process.
Okay.
It's cool. Something Positive is just funny. He has stories, but it's more like an old timey not old timey, but an old comic strip where he'll make his statement with a day on a day, and most of them crack me up. So if people want to go see those two things, that I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Oh, cool, man. Make sure I definitely gonna check. I'm gonna rewatch this to see it and make sure I find them and everything. So I want to check that out myself.
I'll throw you the links on the Discord server.
Please do. Please do. As always, y'all already know the drill. Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. If you want to do one of these one-on-ones like this, all you got to do is join the Supervillain Squad, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. But at the $25 tier, this is what we do once a month. And then, like I said, this is Jim's second one. And I stopped him because I know we want to talk about more and more. And then even we're in the Discord, we can all talk about stuff. So it's just a big thing. But thank you to everybody who's watching these and who's supporting. I'll holler at you guys next time. Till then, take care. I'm out. Bye.